Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Gas is on the Right. No, he's got a chance to win the race.
I think that might have been like one of the cleanest hits I've ever seen in a NASCAR fight.
Side Rick. Yeah, the back. Oh, bend to the wall hard goes Ryan Blaney.
And he finally came to a stop, and it was just dead silent.
I said this last week, and I'm going to keep reiterating it. Live with the decisions you make, drive by the decisions you make. Don't change up your style, but also just don't be dumb.
Hey everybody, welcome back to this week's episode of Gas is on the Right, Texas edition. Everything's bigger in Texas, so we got some big news for moving forward. We're going to be recording Mondays nights now from after this week, obviously, at 9:30 Eastern time, 9:30 p.m. Eastern time, that is. Don't expect us on here at 9:30 in the morning.
No, not at all.
So
We all have day jobs.
with that housekeeping out of the way, let's move on into Texas. Obviously, we had Chase Elliott win in double overtime, holding off the field on the restarts. This is the third race to go into overtime after not having 13 races without an overtime.
14.
I believe 14.
Yeah, 13, 14, something like that.
So a lot of streaks being broken and started. Obviously, Chase Elliott's 42 race winless streak came to an end this week.
Oh my gosh, Miss Elliott.
Which brings the question. The question is Chase Elliott back, or did he go anywhere? So, Alan, we'll get your opinion.
It's
We'll start
debatable.
off with your opinion.
I mean, other than breaking his leg and then right hooking somebody at Charlotte, where did he go? You know, 7 weeks missed. Still had. I know his 2023 average finish was still 16.9 or somewhere in the mid to low teens. So obviously the consistency is there. And then, Emily, do you have the numbers on this year for his average finish thus far? Or, but while she pulls that up, as we see, I mean, I don't think he went anywhere at all, other than the fact of we put him on such a pedestal because he's the golden boy of NASCAR, most popular driver 7 years in a row now. That there's a high expectation there for him to run a certain way and finish and win. I mean, he went from 2022 winning 5 races, 2021 championship 4, I don't remember how many races, 2020 champion, to 2023 missing the playoffs, which granted, again, he was out 7 races,
Yeah.
but we still, everybody, it wasn't the thought of if Chase Elliott wins, it's when does Chase Elliott win in 2023, and then it never happened.
Yeah, well, I mean, even last year with him missing the playoffs and missing 7 races, he was pretty close to pointing his way in, even missing 7 races. That was the big storyline is he might actually point his way in missing 7 races.
Right.
So it's not like he just wasn't obviously as a champion not winning races, he's off. 42 race winning streak is off, but
right.
it's not like if barring the injury and the minor setback of right hooking Denny Hamlin, just kind of, I mean, last year was just, how do you even count it, coming back after an injury like that? Because wasn't he, Alan, you said that, didn't you, that he was second in the points when he got hurt last year?
Yeah, he was top 3 in the points. You got to remember, I mean, he had a great run at Daytona and then followed that up with another second place at Auto Club and then a Phoenix. He ran top 10 and then
I
out
think
of
he
Vegas.
finished, yeah.
So
Which, I mean, that was the
very...
same thing with Alex Bowman really last year. He was leading the
Yeah.
points when he got hurt, right?
Yeah, we're
So
comparing.
I don't think
Go ahead.
either one of them have really gone anywhere. It's just they weren't winning races. They're still running consistently where they normally run, except
Right.
first place,
Yeah. Were you able to get that average finish, by the way?
Yes, I was. He's actually not doing terrible this year. I think he's just kind of been an underdog. His average finish this year is 10.33, if you wanna. It's a 10th.
That's higher than all of ours.
Yes.
But he does have 4 top 10s and 5 top 5s
Yeah, I was going to say this
so
is
far.
3 top
So I
5s in a
feel
row
like
for him,
he's
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. So I feel like we just haven't been seeing much of him because we expect more from past years and, like you said, Golden Boy of NASCAR. So
Yeah, I
people
mean,
It's just
if he's not right there at
expectations
the front of the
versus
pack
reality.
every single week, they think he's not doing as good, but he's not doing bad.
right. And I mean, we do have to
As
take
a
into
Dell
account the
Jr.
fact
fan,
that, like,
I remember
oh, go ahead.
much longer winless streaks than 42 races.
Right. And I
So,
mean, his lowest finish all season has only been 19, not counting the Coliseum.
I mean, that's not bad.
Yeah, he's been in the top 20 every week, and he's 4th in points. So
Mhm.
he's obviously been doing something right this year.
Yeah, so this conversation about where did he go, I don't think is an existent conversation other than for the media storyline, because it shows the proof's in the pudding. He's been there. He just hasn't crossed the line first. So, I mean, granted, double overtime, great job to him. Kudos to him. Didn't know this until the broadcast said it about 14,000 times that he only had one top 5 in the next gen car at a mile and a half. So now he's got 2 top 5s in the next gen car at a mile and a half, which
I
is
know,
crazy
and
to
that's
think.
just so crazy because in 2022, the first year that they had it, he won 6 races, and none of
Mhm.
those were on a mile and a half. And then, yeah, because I thought Nashville's a mile and a half, isn't it?
I thought so too. I wonder if that's the top 5.
Yeah, yeah. So that's crazy to me that I guess other than because he won at Dover too.
Dover's not a mile. Dover's not a mile and a half though. I don't think. I think they're talking mile and a half
Mm-mm.
intermediate with a dog leg because Dover's like a true oval. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
So
on D-shaped mile and a half, so they got to get a technical stat to make it look like he's on the struggle bus or something,
D.
What- Which I mean, Chase Elliott has admitted that he's had to relearn how to drive this car, and even they talked about it with Jimmy Johnson that they're so used to cars driving off the right rear, and they don't do that anymore. That you just kind of have to relearn. So, but obviously he's starting to figure it out because I mean on the restarts he was super aggressive. Like we hadn't seen that level of aggression out of him, and
Right.
I was like, whoa, who is that? And then I mean he even beat Denny Hamlin on the outside. Obviously he probably wouldn't have continued that momentum had the caution not came out, but he beat him enough to get first place, and be able to gain control of the restarts and all that. So overall, it was obviously it was a good day for Hendrick Motorsports. Kyle Larson started on the pole and won the first stage, right? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, won the
Dominated the
first
first
stage
stage.
and looked like it was his race to lose, and then he
He
lost
lost it. Yeah. Went
Yeah.
with a loose lug. It lost him a tire and lost him kind of most of his day. There in stage 2 around lap, I think it was like 117 is where it happened. Ended up losing a crew chief or a jackman and a tire changer for the week. So
2 weeks, isn't it, right?
2 weeks, yes, 2 week vacation.
Well, the good thing is Talladega is not super taxing. It's mostly just no tires, just gas. No tires, just gas, like Lightning McQueen.
Right.
So Very rarely will you see a 4-tire stop.
Yeah. So
Circling back around to the Chase Elliott thing just a little bit. I don't know if we have this in our notes or not, but he did. His team set the record for the fastest pit stop of the year. I think it was a 8.4 second stop.
like an 8.49, but there's been two debates with that because Stuart Haas posted one where they had an 8.45 last year, and then
Mhm.
JGR posted one where they had an 8.43 last year. And I don't know where they're measuring the metric of this off of because I don't
It's
think it's
different for
actually
everybody.
timed. Yeah. So that's where I'm kind of like, where's the metric at on it of what's the how do they pick that out? How do they number that, you know?
Yeah,
Like, because
like
are they numbering it?
who's is it like the caution lights? Is somebody pushing a button like, all right, the timer stops,
Oh, they'd have to go back to the timing
how are
loop for
they?
that one.
Yeah, like way they're the way they're measuring it, I just don't think is super accurate. But regardless, it was 8.4 something. You know, that's still blistering fast. You know, I
Emily, how
think they.
fast can you tie your shoes?
I don't know.
You think you can tie your shoes in 8.4 seconds?
Probably.
If someone
I don't
has
think
a
I could bend
timer on
down
their
in
phone,
8.4 seconds.
I'll go grab my shoes and see if I can put
I
them
mean,
on.
if you go grab your shoes, I'll time you.
Yeah, well, tell me how
I'll
long
be
it takes you
back.
to go get one. I'm glad he wore pants. That would have been a
Why
show.
wouldn't he?
But yeah, I mean,
Normally I don't.
look at that. Dude, it's going to
All
be
right.
like 8.4
All right,
seconds at 1 frame per second right now.
hang on.
Let me know when
Let
you're
me
ready.
let me get them untied. To be fair,
Oh no, we don't need.
I
It's off of your
I'm one of
timing
those
light, not off
people.
of ours.
I'm one of those
So, are
people
we
that
doing both shoes? So you have to tie both shoes in 8.4
yeah,
seconds.
they're changing a left and a right.
I know.
All
I'm
right,
just. I'm laying out the clear rules of this.
you tell me when.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
And he goes around the left side of the shoe and he starts tying the knot and he's got the bunny loop in his hand and he's getting the bunny around and bunny going around, round, 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 round. And he has ran around to the other side to the right foot and he is tying the bunny loop on that foot and he is breathing out. He is gassed. This man cannot do it anymore. It's like an 8-second bull ride over here, but he is going to make it way longer than 8 seconds. And he's going and we're waiting, counting it down. Done.
If Alan hadn't started
23.67.
23 seconds, you said.
That was worse than Tyler Reddick's pit stop.
If I could have done it quicker, but when Alan started commentating, I dropped the shoelaces out of my hand and had to start back over. LOL.
Oh, good times, good times. Great job though. I'm proud of you for that 23-second shoe change. See, that's why I just wear shoes without laces.
Well, I'm one of those people that I tie my shoes once
And you
and
just
that's
slip
it.
them in.
I don't ever tie them again. I just slide my feet into them.
That's the best way to do it. So that is honestly the best way to do it. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think NASCAR does need a stat on that though. I think that'd be a fun stat to keep up with is like and like having a legitimate system on timing them.
Yeah, because I mean, like even with how they did the North Wilkesboro pit stops last year,
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, that. It doesn't seem accurate, you know, because the
Yeah,
way they
something
did it,
seems off.
the quickest one was like a 10 seconds or 13. Well, I guess there's more accurate because when I think they were doing it when the car crossed into the box, that's when it started. And when it went left, it stopped to where
Right.
a little bit of on driver, you know, but
Yeah. See,
nothing
my
beat
whole
when they came down Charlotte's pit road at like 180 miles an hour.
oh yeah, and you try to
That's
slow
the
down for
best.
the box. That is the best
Yeah,
one.
those were the best pit stop competitions. Because having to
So
run out in front of one of those bad boys.
yeah, you have guys coming off the off of turn 4 down into the pit road wide open. You just pray that you are not the target.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, pit crew struggles. I actually saw something today. NASCAR suspended 7 pit crew members across all 3 series this weekend to 1 race and 2 race suspensions, and then 1 indefinite suspension. So,
Oh.
5 of them, 4 of them had equipment errors. So either safety equipment issues, oversights, everybody from different teams. You have the 2 off Kyle Larson's team, and then you have the RCR Jackman suspended indefinitely for substance abuse. So 7 total, which that's the first time I've seen a stat like that, but 7 total pit crew members across all 3 series and all from different teams were suspended for either a week, 2 weeks, or indefinitely. So a lot
Yeah.
of stuff handed down by NASCAR today.
Can't have the Jackman on the booger sugar. It's not fair.
Make that pit. I mean, let's be honest, is RCR's pit crew really making that much of a difference right now?
They were last year, but this year they fell off.
Maybe they shouldn't have changed out as many members. Get stressful.
Yeah.
Wow,
Speaking of
we're really a little
RCR,
unhinged.
yeah, I was about to say,
Just a
speaking
little
of
bit. I'm gonna
RCR,
be
how
honest.
about
The gunshots outside my house really threw me in the beginning of this episode. Like,
Yeah, if we didn't have the mic issues earlier, we'd probably heard them.
oh, I don't know how it didn't pick up. In all honesty, it was like right there through the woods.
She in the hood.
before Austin Hill broke Sunday, if that would have kept playing out, he was going to finish ahead of all the RCR cars.
Dude,
Mhm.
well, I mean, it didn't matter because Sunday it was a drag and drop. If you dropped a car in a position, it's probably going to run there all day.
hmm There was just a lot
So,
of passing on the restarts and then when you caught somebody and tried to pass them, the track was so bumpy that if you got too far to the outside,
yeah, it's like
around you
driving
go.
down 285. Like, pray to God you miss them.
I-20 is the worst right there at Hamilton Drive when you start going da-dunk, 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 da-dunk over the
Oh,
bridges.
yeah.
Those bumps are the worst.
Yeah, right there at 285 Hamilton. Or you go to the, I figured it out from her house to my work. I'd take 285 in the mornings, and I figured out what lanes to not be in after like 2 days.
Mhm.
And surprisingly didn't blow a tire, but goodness, it felt like it. I felt like Denny Hamlin at Texas.
Yeah, well, try living in Alabama. We still have roads that are dirt.
Oh, this is Georgia,
A
man. We
lot
got
of
plenty
them.
of dirt
I
around
was
here.
about to say we have
Not
plenty
as
of
many
dirt
as you.
roads.
No. All right, let's
So,
reel this bad boy back in.
I was
All
about
right,
to say, come on,
Texas, was it good
Larson.
or was it not?
I mean, if you want to go off of the poll, yeah.
Was it good on the poll because Chase Elliott won?
I was talking about the Jeff Gluck poll, but
That's what I'm talking about.
do you feel like it has something to do with that? Because it had a 72.9% yes.
I think it had a lot to do with the fact that cars were wrecking by themselves often and the overtime finishes and then that number 9 razzle dazzle right on top.
I would
So,
almost fully
Sorry.
agree with you.
what's your dispute?
You left out the biggest villain in NASCAR right now, going out all alone at the end of the race to basically hand it to Chase Elliott.
Oh yeah, it was hero versus villain, the perfect story arc.
Your
There you
favorite
go.
driver versus your favorite villain.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
based off the Gluck poll, like Emily said, it's a 72.9. That actually ranks number 1 among the 16 polled Texas races. And fun fact, because it's Chase Elliott, number 12 of the 19, Chase Elliott wins.
Oh, you beat me to that one. I was going to say that.
I'll give you
Well,
the TV ratings because that tells a completely different story.
Well, dang, I lost. I had it and then I lost it. Okay, never mind. I have it right here. So let's see. I mean, 2.3 and specifically 2.310 million viewers. But there's no direct comparison to that because, we have Texas in the playoffs, which got 2 million.
well, I feel like you got to cut it a little bit of slack because it went head to head with the Masters.
That is true. I didn't think about that.
Well, here's my counter argument to that. A playoff Texas race last year only got 2 million viewers on USA. A spring Texas race after 2 duds back to back got 2.3 million views. And nobody, obviously Chase Elliott won it, but that is the end of the broadcast. So you had a 300,000 viewership jump, which for Texas is a big deal because of what Texas is and what everybody knows
And
Texas to
especially
be
what it's followed.
and what it's followed after Richmond and
Mhm.
Martinsville. So I would say that that is a huge win, even more so than what the poll shows, because of the fact of you're looking at that. While there's no direct comparison, you're looking at a playoff race in the round of what is that? The round of 12, I think it was, because I think Texas was after Talladega last
Mhm.
year in the
Mhm.
playoffs. So you're looking at a round of 12 race, a round of a 12 playoff race that's in the middle of a big playoff at this point. Granted, you don't have your golden boy in there, but you have big names in there that are trying to make it through. And you've seen some guys almost miss the cut in the round of 16. So that to me tells me that NASCAR is retaining fans this year comparatively to years in the past because and it's I would say it starts with Full Speed on Netflix and then trends from the beginning of the year and what we had leading up to Coda. And granted, since Coda, it's kind of been a dud of a schedule, but luckily we have Talladega this weekend that'll probably be postponed till Monday. And then after that, we have Dover. So, I mean, it's a, it's good that it did that because having what I would consider an entertaining race versus a good race really helps retain that audience into the following week and helps retain those storylines because also you saw on the broadcast when Denny Hamlin wrecked, maybe you have a new viewer in there. They see Denny Hamlin wreck. They see all these boos and everything. You want to know why.
You look
So
further into it.
you go further
Mhm.
into it, you dive in, and then all of a sudden that you are consumed with NASCAR and have posters and cars and bags and everything else.
Everything.
It's
And then
a
you end up doing a podcast.
it's a vicious cycle. It's a vicious
How did
cycle.
we get here?
This is our TED Talk.
Circle of life. All right. So, did they fix Texas?
I was
Or
actually going to ask y'all one last thing before we moved on is do y'all feel like and y'all may have answered this a little bit because there is such a huge debate over Texas, do you feel like it still races good? Or do you think that the Jeff Gluck poll was as high as it was because of who won?
I don't think it races good at all, honestly. I think who won and the wrecks. Because I mean,
Mhm.
a 16 caution day at Texas, which is the tied for the most cautions in track history.
Correct.
Um, a lot of single car spins, nothing really major. You got to see some fun stuff here and there, but I don't think it was one of those things because you got to look at it this way too. At Reddick at one point pulled out to like a 4 to 6 second lead. Denny had done the same thing. Kyle had stunk up the whole entire first half of the event. So I don't think it was good because you couldn't again, like Daniel said, you could only pass on the restarts. You'd have guys that would jump out 3 wide and pass 3, 4 rows of cars and then jump back in line into turn. If you didn't get a jump going out of 2, you were stuck where you were running until the next caution or the next pit cycle. And
Mhm.
these guys, the thing is the majority of the time with these 16 cautions, granted that's a lot. Your leader stayed out. because there was no need for tires. It was really more based off of a fuel strategy. So I don't think it raced good because there was not really racing, it was just wrecking. So, and I think that the poll does have to do a little bit with Chase Elliott winning as one of the biggest fans in the sport. Daniel seems to have a much
I was
different
about to say, I
opinion.
feel like Daniel has a different opinion
The
based
way
on
that
that
his head's
face.
cocked.
Okay. So I feel like I have the opposite opinion. I think Texas was good. And yeah, there's a lot of racetrack they're not using, but the main complaint of drivers is that it's hard to drive at Texas. It's sketchy, and it's, do you have the balls to do it or do you not have the balls to do it? And guess what that takes out of it? The parity of the cars being equal. And
Correct.
then on top of when you start getting into the strategy of people running long, hoping for a caution, and then the people that do pit and have fresher tires and are going faster, and that's the people that were wrecking weren't the people that stayed out long hoping for a caution. It was the people that pitted trying to make hay around the outside. Like, do I have the balls to make this move? I got to make this move, putting them in the predicaments to work harder towards it, and then they step out and they bust their ass, and then they're spun out and their day's over.
Right.
I don't think that's the entertainment was wrecking. It was the
strategy.
the strategy of it. The strategy caused what you see on the racetrack. And so the racetrack's hard to drive. So why would you change a racetrack that's hard to drive? And because that's, to me, the drivers want it more in their hands than to show their skill versus the cars are equal. Well, if a racetrack's hard to drive and some people are more comfortable holding it wide open and some people are feathering it, guess what? That's putting driver skill back into play. And then you get the product that you saw Sunday, which 72.9% of people liked.
Yeah. I mean, I get your point completely, but I'm talking strictly the racing portion of it, where you actually see racing. Because from a average fan perspective, and not from our perspective, because I agree with that, but from an average fan perspective, it doesn't look into that. Would you find it more entertaining to watch Texas or Kansas?
I don't know. Are you talking like a fan who knows nothing of strategy? Who doesn't
Somebody
take
that
that
just
into
enjoys to
account?
watch it but doesn't take like strategy and everything into account, or somebody that is sitting there with you, like you have friends over that doesn't really watch NASCAR but is watching because it's on, or it's on in the
I
Those
feel
people
like
are
fall.
they would
watching.
have liked
Those
the
people are
race
watching for the
because of the
wrecks.
wreck. Yep,
Yeah.
So
because of
you
the
don't think
wrecks.
that
So
like the
because
passing
of
or
that,
anything has anything to do with their retention time?
No,
no.
not someone who doesn't like follow it as deeply as we do and care about strategy. They just want to see cars crash.
Yeah.
I
I
have
mean,
my
I'm gonna
opinion
be
backwards
honest,
then.
that's what got me into all this. I was really not like all into this until I started looking at wreck compilations. And then I was like, I want to see how this happened. And then I started watching the races.
And
That's
here
how it
we are.
starts for everybody.
I was about to
Everybody
say,
starts watching at Talladega and Daytona, and they're like, "Oh, this is awesome." And then
yeah, and then you
from
go
there,
to other places. And you're like, "Mm,
This is cool, awesome to
it's all
cool.
right."
So
I never thought I would see the day when Daniel said a race with 16 cautions was good.
yeah, no, he totally contradicted himself from like 3 weeks ago.
I know.
but the cautions were due to the strategy. Like I like a strategy race, and the strategy is what produced the cautions.
I feel
Doesn't
like I
feel like a
said
It
this
was
purist
3
race
weeks
though.
ago and you told me no.
Doesn't feel like
no,
a
it was
purist
different.
race.
It does not feel like a purist race, but it still pushes strategy.
Just because a race has cautions doesn't mean it's not a purist race. Like the strategy is what caused the cautions. A purist race is where strategy is what dictates the race. And because of varying strategies, there's cars going slower and cars going faster.
Correct.
And faster cars have to use the unpreferred groove, which is sketchy. And then people used it, and when they shouldn't have used it, and in areas they shouldn't have used it, and that like it was driver error that caused the cautions. It wasn't just like people dumping each other. Besides Byron dumping Chastain on the last lap, you know.
I don't think
That's
Byron really dumped him.
no. Well, we'll
Chastain
get
came
into
down.
that later, but
I feel like we are contradicting ourselves right now because I feel like I said the same exact thing Daniel said a few weeks ago, and he was like, "No, no."
no, you were more wreck central.
I'm more
I
Rex
my
can
my
cause the
what
strategy,
I said
and Rex
was
can be caused
Rex.
by
A
strategy.
race doesn't just because a race doesn't have to have cautions to be good was my thing. I didn't say a race with cautions can't be good.
Hmm.
That was my argument. Is just because there wasn't wrecks doesn't mean the race wasn't good.
I never said that, but what I did say was that
Are you
Rex
sure?
push driver ability because of the strategy you have to use around them.
No, I don't think you used those words.
We can go back and find out. Somebody
Yeah.
I
can dig up
probably
the
did not.
receipts.
Don't quote me on anything.
I'll get you quoted yourself. I'll get receipts.
What episode was that? Coda? I think it was Coda.
I think it was Coda.
Pretty
Because
sure it was
Coda
Coda or
had
Coda.
like
Richmond.
nothing,
Yeah.
and I
No,
was like,
Might have
it
been.
was pre-Richmond. It's pre-Richmond.
was it?
Yeah.
No, it may have been Richmond.
It was either Coda or Richmond. I think it might have
Uh,
been Richmond because that was the when the purest talk began.
Martin,
Yeah.
Richmond. Hold on. I'm gonna look at our show notes, see if I can find anything.
It's probably Richmond, I believe.
Yeah, looking at the
I
schedule,
honestly
think
thought
would
it
be
was
Richmond.
Coda.
But I guess the real question is to reconfigure
Or was it
or
Bristol?
not to reconfigure.
Because Bristol was a high caution race. No, it wouldn't have been Bristol. We
I'm
talked
not
much
the
about
person to
tires.
be asking this right now.
Yeah, to reconfigure or not to reconfigure. Emily?
That is the question.
I feel like I've been put on the spot a good bit here in the last few minutes, but you know, I feel like we talk about this every week. We talk about how NASCAR can fix things or how tracks can be fixed. We have a conversation along these lines every single week. And we always say there's nothing you can do to fix it. So I feel like a reconfigure or a repave may just be putting a band-aid on a bullet hole yet again. So I think they should just leave it the way it is. Like Daniel said, it's risky. Do you have the balls to do it? Test the driver ability and keep it how it is. So I say no. Don't fix it. It's obviously doing good in ratings.
Chase Elliott Nation agrees with you.
Oh my God,
Alan,
Chase
the question
Elliott.
is, do you agree?
I think the only thing, and this is super technical, and I don't drive the car, so I can't vouch for the factualness of this, but the PJ1 that they put on the track years ago is still there, and that's what helps make it so much of a lane and a half, 2-lane track. It barely a 2-lane track, and if they could get rid of that, and the bumps will still be there. So that part will still be there where the back end loosens up, the back end lifts. I look like a ghost. Good night. But get rid of that portion of it and go into like let the track open back up into what the track actually is. And I think it'd race great because you're only taking out the ice. You're not taking out the bumps and all of the impurities in the pavement. So at that point, it would still create that little bit of calamity, so to speak, that would make it interesting because it's based off strategy. Because you still have to be willing to go to the top, knowing that you're going to bounce and possibly lose your rear end when you bounce. Because if you watch when those cars hit, Jimmy Johnson, Denny Hamlin, I think Josh Berry the same. They snapped. They didn't just start sliding. They snapped around and backed in. That's the thing that happened to
Mhm.
Bowman in 2022 that put him out with the concussion. Was the car just snapped on him? So, and that's one of those things of I like seeing that style of. I don't want to say I like seeing it, but that style of incident does create that where it could be that's the driver risking it because they know
Mhm.
what they're getting into. They knew from the time Jimmy Johnson did it early in the first stage that top lane was going to cause you to snap if you ran out on 4. That's your choice. But
Yep.
I think that's the only thing. I don't think there's any reason to reconfigure it. I don't think there's reason for a Texas short track. I don't think there's reason for a Texas super speedway like Atlanta. I don't think there's anything like
Yeah.
that. I
No,
think
that
Texas,
doesn't need to happen.
and especially this year, comparing it to the Masters, looking at the TV ratings, looking at the poll, which again we do have to look at the Chase Elliott effect, but you're looking at also the biggest name in the sport. I think you leave it. So, as Bubba Wallace said, "Damn it, now we'll never get to fix Texas because Chase Elliott won there." So, but I think you leave. I think you leave it. Your thoughts, Daniel?
Daniel?
Yeah, believe it or not, with my past, even though my past comments about how I like how it challenges
Oh
the
my
drivers
God.
and the way that it
Oh my
races,
gosh.
I'm gonna
I'm
end your
not against
stream
a
now.
repave. I'm not against a repave. I just because I like the race
Contradiction.
doesn't mean that I don't think it's. I'm cool if they leave it, but like if they want to reconfigure it to race like old Atlanta, you know, or something like that, I'm not against a reconfiguration, but I do like the way that it is now. Like, and me and Alan, I think remember we kind of predicted that Texas, the way that it was gonna, if we just let it age a little bit, the racing will get better.
Mm-hmm.
I believe.
We said that last year.
Well, and I'll quote that. I'll quote that. I know that we said that earlier this season.
Mm-hmm.
That if the more Texas ages, and the racetrack wears out, the better we think the racing's going to be. And it's one of those things to where, I mean, are they probably? I still think they might reconfigure it just because of how much the drivers do hate it, but I don't know. I think that's one of those things that you need to revisit in 5 years now that it's put on. Because even in the fall last year, the race wasn't terrible. You know, I
Is it
mean there
worth 2
was
dates?
some things. Yeah, no, not a 2 day. I don't. I mean the crowd was really decent there, and that's because there's only one race there. I I think Daytona, Talladega, Bristol, Martinsville, and Richmond should be your only double date. Oh, and Darlington, your
Atlanta,
double date racetracks.
Atlanta.
And
Kansas.
Atlanta, Kansas, and Charlotte Oval could do a double.
Yeah, Charlotte Oval definitely needs to come back. Get rid of the Roval.
So that's eight. So that's 18 races, and then do 18 tracks so you only go there once.
Hmm.
Which I mean, NASCAR's done a better job about that. There's not that many double date racetracks anymore. Well, besides the 9 that we named off, but
Yeah,
it used
besides
to be
the
more than that, you know.
Besides,
Las Vegas, Phoenix.
Oh yeah, God. Phoenix only needs one date. It sucks.
Oh, Phoenix only needs one. It's a NASCAR on track, though. It'll never only have one date.
Yeah, well, unless they
they're
buy
never
another
taking
track.
y'all back over to Phoenix.
Or
Can't
unless
wait.
they
Well,
take one date and give Homestead 2. Please, for the love of God, give Homestead 2.
yeah, Homestead could use a second date, but at the same time, it's one of those things. The crowd's
I would
good because
like
there's
to
only
see
one race there.
Homestead get a second date.
Yeah, but if you give Homestead the championship back, then you don't have to worry
And
about your
just
crowd.
race there. Yeah, and just race there. But I like the fact that they used to go to Homestead once, and it was when they raced there, so they had no notes except from the year before.
Ooh, that
So
is
it's
a
not
good
like
point.
anybody. It's not like anybody has the advantage right now, where when you race at Phoenix, you get to kind of take that notebook back.
From
You
the
know,
spring,
when you're
yeah.
the more you race there, the more notes you have, and the closer the racing's going to be, and which only hurts Phoenix. You know.
Right. So, well,
Are we
moving
ready for
down.
some point standings?
Yes.
I was about to say, I love doing these point standings every week.
Is it because it was your idea?
Probably.
Mhm.
So,
Gotcha.
you have Larson, Truex, Hamlin, Elliott, Byron, Gibbs, Blaney, Reddick, Wallace, and Bell. I'm gonna be honest. I listened to last week, but I don't feel like I retained the points for some reason. So there's some new people in there.
Yeah,
Well, looking at it,
so
Elliott
yeah,
up
let me
2
zoom out here.
positions. Byron dropped 1. Blaney dropped 1.
And then Bubba Wallace came in
Gibbs
there.
came up 2.
Gibbs
Or
came up 2.
Gibbs went up 1.
Yeah, Wallace came outside. Bowman dropped out. And Chastain dropped out.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So a lot of comers and goers. Obviously, still anybody's race with. This is race 10 of the regular season. Yes, race 10 of the regular season. You got 20 more to, or 16 more to go. Goodness. So
26 more to go.
I just want to
No, that's
say
36
that
races.
that's for the full season.
all of our
To the regular season championship, because this is regular
Yeah.
season point standings. This isn't
Mhm.
playoff
Oh,
standings.
yeah.
That's just
I
the regular
will
season
say
championship point
Bad.
standings.
all of our too early picks for playoffs are all in the top 10 though.
You say top 10 because I feel like some of us are towards the bottom end of the top 10.
You know, you don't have to call me out like that.
I don't remember who it was. That's why I was just saying it. But
It's
you
So
just
I
called
had
yourself out.
Reddick.
Me and you have Hamlin and I have Byron, so we're 3rd and 5th.
Yeah. So let me live in my glory of I'm at least in the top 10. I may be down, but I'm
You
there.
need to pick crew.
It's
Yeah.
fine. We'll work out the kinks. It's all good.
Come on, Lightning McQueen. Get yourself a crew.
Good chow.
So, well, as we look to Talladega, out of last year's contenders, who needs a good week?
Do we need last year's contenders real quick? The
We
top
do.
16?
We need the top 16 from the playoffs.
I worked very hard to look this up on NASCAR's website.
Look at you. That's stud.
So going from 1st to 16, obviously. Larson, Hamlin, Reddick, Byron, Bell, Keselowski, Bush, Blaney. Gosh, that was a tongue tie. Chastain, Truex, Wallace, Logano, Harvick, Stenhouse Jr., and McDowell. So obviously we don't have Harvick in that anymore.
I was about to say he needs to have a great year. He's
15.
way behind.
Yeah, he's fallen.
He could still catch up. I don't know what you mean.
I'm gonna say let's take out
Obviously,
the
McDowell.
outliers. Well, I was gonna say let's take out the outliers of the Harvick, McDowell, Stenhouse, and let's look at the contenders.
I mean, are we gonna count Bush as an outlier this year too?
No, that was an outlier last year. Just like, I don't know. McDowell kind of straight up won a road course race. You know.
That's true, and he could do
And
it again.
They've had speed this year, so I think.
Oh, I thought we were taking them out of this year's standing. Sorry, I was.
Yeah, McDowell needs a good day. Obviously, Stenhouse needs a good day. So Bush, Busher, Keselowski, Logano are the 4 big ones that stick out to me that need a good day.
Yeah, I would agree. I think Logano really needs one. He showed promise and speed at the beginning of the season. Haven't had anything since.
Yeah, well, he showed speed at the beginning of the races.
Yeah,
And couldn't put one together.
yeah, and now he's really
And obviously,
starting to
he's
lag
worked
behind.
himself. Yeah, well, he's worked himself up into the top 16 in points now, but he needs a solid run to solidify that. Obviously, Keselowski and Busher are outside. Well, Keselowski's 1 point out of the playoffs right now.
Right.
But he needs a good day, even though he finished 2nd last week. But he
Bush
could use
needs
that
a good day.
Kyle Busch definitely needs a good. Well, he got a top 10 this week too, didn't he?
think so. It was either this week. Hold on, let me double check because I had it and then I lost it. So, which funny enough that you're talking about Busher, Logano, and Bush because they're all kind of right at each other. Busher's, I mean, point standing as it is 13, Logano is 15, and Bush is 16.
Yep. And Keselowski's 18 or 17.
Yeah, this past weekend you are right. He got a top 10. He was in 9th. Let me see.
Yeah.
I mean, 16 in Martinsville,
They just gotta put together
20 in
a good week,
Richmond.
get some momentum.
Well, that's
going.
what at one point they were the points leader,
Right.
Yeah.
and they have fallen from grace.
Not so
Quick,
graceful
fast,
either.
and in a hurry.
Yeah. Like it's been a tumble.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think Keselowski just needs to get the monkey off his back.
Can he?
He's been there. He's been
there, but
consistently, but I mean we're looking at a 102 race winless streak. I think is what the number's at. That's what the graphic that they showed as well during the race. So, and I mean, it's time. RFK's got the speed.
well, they showed
But-
it last year, and I mean, Keselowski's ran decent this year. Obviously, he's only
Right.
1 point out of the playoffs, and would be in if Daniel Suarez hadn't screwed up the Joe Gibbs Rick Hendrick party of winning all the races this year.
Stinking up the show.
Yeah.
9 of 10 won by
Yep.
Joe Gibbs or a Hendrick car, including the
Insane.
Clash. So that'd be 10 of 11.
Yeah, 10 of 11.
So,
So that's 5 and 4. And
yeah.
then, mi amigo solamente.
So, well, speaking.
All right, let's get into my favorite part of this episode
It's only
Because
your favorite
Daniel
part this
won.
week.
from Texas.
It's only
Yeah.
your favorite part because you won this week.
How dare you accuse me of being
Of-
so self-centered? Okay, anyways, I picked Bub Wallace, and he got me a top 10 finish in 8th. Emily picked Tyrone Gibbs, and he finished 13th. And Alan picked Joshua Berry, who finished a whopping 36th.
Talk about another fall from grace, by the way. My
Yeah.
average finish has gone down since you mentioned it. Don't talk about it anymore.
Yeah, my
Wait,
bad.
what are our average finishes now?
We are all really close. Alan has 14.3, you're a 14.5, and I'm a
Wait.
15.1.
How did he finish 36 this past week and still have a 14.3?
Well, because he had a 3, a 18, 13, 18, 6, 11, 3, 25, 10, and a 36. And that averages out to 14.3.
Thank you for the detailed explanation. Our point standings, if anybody wants to know. I am in first place as of right now with 5 points, and Daniel and Alan are tied with 3 points.
I love that hairbrush in that. Just like the. Let me tell you about my points.
I mean, I had to go a little bit. I honestly thought that I could have pulled off going 3 for 3 this past week.
You just about did if Ty Gibbs didn't play stupid.
And
I was
like with
worried for a
everything that
second.
happened and I couldn't record last week, I was like, I have to depend on Alan to actually put who I tell him to pick down.
Yeah, you had power poles down last week, gunshots this week. I mean, Maybe
I
time
mean,
to
I had an
move.
allergic reaction over the weekend. You know, I've this last week of my life has been extremely interesting. Anybody want to trade lives for a week?
you can be on a podcast. So, well, Daniel, due to your win, you obviously get to go first, followed by Emily, and then rounding out with myself. So, are you ready to jump into it?
All right, live here, we are about to process me making my pick because I'm still super undecided. So,
All right, let's hear your
all
thought
right.
process. Lay it out. Give us our picks out of your
Obviously,
picks.
obviously, this week I want a burner pick. You know, I don't want to pick somebody great, and I want to use them later in the year. So, Austin Dillon's coming off a top 10. I think his first of the year. So he's got a little bit of momentum, which he needed bad.
Mm-hmm.
Corey LaJoy needs a shot in the arm to get his season turned around, which we talked about last week. Or Todd Gilliland has led the second most laps in the Ford camp from the first two super speedway races. So, do I pick him
Would you like their averages?
at Talladega?
Mm-hmm.
You
And
have
super
that
speedways. Yeah.
readily available? Yeah, let's hear it.
Yes, because that's how I choose mine.
Look at our
So,
stats, woman. Just running the board.
Gilliland, specifically at Talladega, has a 14 finish.
Okay, that's all I need to know
Top 10.
for Gilliland. What about LaJoy?
There's nothing on him. Actually, hold on 1 second. Let me pull one thing up. I did not see one thing. LaJoy. $20.3.
What
Who
about
was your last one?
Normally gets caught up in the
Austin
big
Dillon?
one.
17.5. That's all specifically at Talladega since February of 2021.
What about Austin Cindric?
15.3.
Hey,
One
keep
top
this in
5, 2
mind.
top 10s.
You may think that
Out of
Gilliland is a
4
burner
races
pick,
he's raced there.
but FRM has had some fast super speedway cars. Thank you, Daniel Harper, right on it as I say it. So Daniel Harper in the chat. Todd Gilliland, he had a rocket at Atlanta in the 500. Give me him to be an upset winner. Is what Daniel Harper just said in the chat, and that's exactly where I was going with it. Front Row Motorsports Super Speedway program is next level comparatively to where they've been. Granted, they have a Daytona 500 in their belt, but that's also because Team Penske wrecking each other. So
where I'm torn is big Corey LaJoy guy. And there's nowhere else on this schedule that I guess Daytona. But I also could pick Gilliland there.
what you thinking?
Or I could go Logano. No, you seem to not like that one.
I think that's a solid pick.
See, where I'm torn is I don't want to use a good driver here. I just kind of want to.
You want a decent.
Yeah, I just want a long shot pick that actually has a shot. I guess I'm going to go with Todd Gilliland. Todd Gilliland.
Are you locking that in?
Close the deal. Smacking the button.
I was actually thinking about him. Now I'm mad I gave you his average.
Oh, well, I was leaning towards him heavy to begin with. I was just torn between him and LaJoy, but I forgot Daytona.
So, I have a few that I'm trying to decide as well. Bell, but I don't think I want to use Bell right now.
Not here.
Not here.
Keselowski, McDowell, or Wallace. They're all right there at average finishes. Keselowski and McDowell have a 14.5 at Talladega specifically. Now, super speedways in general, Wallace has a 13.3. Now, specifically at Dega, he has a 17.3.
He does have a win at Dega, though. And it is supposed to rain this weekend.
Yeah, Bubba Wallace is a really good pick for this weekend. TBH.
He is a good. Daniel just hold on. Daniel's just trying. No, Daniel used them already. So yeah.
Yeah,
If you use
Daniel
Wallace, I'm fine with that
can't use
because
them.
then I
He
can
just
have him
I
to
he won
myself
off
for
of them
Kansas.
last week. He just
Yeah, I
won
just-
off of them.
Totally slipped. Sorry. I know where I'm going. So just whenever y'all.
I'm trying to decide if there is a better place for Bubba later in the season. That's where my thoughts are. So hold on.
Kansas or Daytona. The only other place I would use Keselowski is Michigan or Daytona or Pocono. He's good at Pocono as well. Or if you wanted to use him at a road course, Keselowski's a killer pick there.
If
think
you
I'm
just
gonna
want
lock
to
in Wallace.
ruin your average finish, I would say don't save him if you're gonna save him for Michigan because Hamlin for Michigan or for Pocono. If you're gonna save Keselowski
I feel
for
like y'all are
Pocono,
really
don't.
trying to like sink my battleship right now. I don't trust y'all.
What's
You don't
funny is
trust
we're
us.
giving her
Trust us.
some real
I'm trying to
advice.
get this thing to just like stop freaking flushing me. Goodness.
That's what you get for stealing my ring light.
Yeah. Don't look at it. It's bright. It's like looking at the eclipse.
All right.
Alan, who you got?
I'm gonna do Wallace. Who do you have, Alan?
You're doing Wallace? Alrighty. Well, y'all thought I was ready, but I'm not. So I want to take 5 minutes to make my pick too. Just kidding. Nope. I'm going to go against what Mr. Harper said, and we're going Joey Logano because I don't see where he's going to get any better anywhere else this year. So that Ford program, Penske's in the gutter right now. Logano's in the gutter. This is the shot in the arm that he needs, and I could use 2 points. So
Did you see what Daniel Harper just said?
he makes dumb, great decisions at super speedways. So he either wins or loses. He's either going to be upside down or he's going to win the race. So that's all I'm going to say. Drove by Coda today, and Brad was.
The fact that he still doesn't have a Maytag sponsorship or GE or some kind of washing machine sponsorship for road courses baffles me.
Yes.
That's just low hanging fruit, and the fact that no one's grabbed it just baffles me.
Dude, I'm gonna make sure that next road course, if he spins out, I'll just post it on our Twitter and tag every single washing machine brand out there, as well as RFK. Make this happen. Spin cycle, baby.
Yeah.
I want the
Alright.
front of a dryer on the hood of the car with his car going round and round. That's what I want.
That would be the most epic vinyl wrap on a car if you had. Oh, that's funny.
Man. So, well, guys, real quick, just to do a little bit of recap and housekeeping before we finish up this week. So, if you don't remember, we are sponsoring a Legends car out in California this year. Emily, where is he racing this weekend?
He is racing I almost said at Stockton, which actually, yes, at Stockton, 99 Speedway in Stockton, California.
Yes, that is the car we'll be sponsoring that is on the screen. And we will be sponsoring him at Stockton. Pictures to come later this week on our social media pages. You will see them out and about everywhere. But that's going to be for Tyler Batsianis. So make sure, give him a follow on Instagram and all other social medias at Tyler_B_racing. His links will also be tagged below in the description as well as Spotify. I don't know where it puts it. Depending on the podcast platform, but we're gonna say below because below is the best spot. And from there,
It's gonna be somewhere.
Daniel said, we're moving to Mondays. We're moving to Monday night. Moving to Monday night. You know, prime time, baby. 9:30 Eastern time on Mondays, starting this Monday after Talladega, which may be same day as the race. But
We'll
just
see.
make sure, yeah, make sure that you guys tune in. We'll keep updated on the live stream and everything, but it'll be Monday night's live stream for the podcast at 9:30 p.m. on the Gas is on the Right Facebook page, and we'll have it linked in all of our social medias as well. If you see us out there, Daniel won't be there, but Emily and I will be at Talladega this Sunday. So if you're out that way and you see us, make sure to say hi. If you don't see us, that's cool too. So we're not looking, but coming soon this fall, by the way, we will be probably passing out merch at some of the events. So keep an eye out for that and keep your ears open, as well as we do
In the
have our fantasy
southeast
league.
region.
Yeah, southeastern region. So
Yeah,
keep an eye
guys,
out for
make
our
sure to make
fantasy
your
league, though.
fantasy picks because I've been kicking everybody's butt in the NASCAR fantasy app.
Yeah, dude. I think everybody got toasted last week though after Larson went out. So I got
Yes.
hosed, dude. Like I got hosed. So Daniel Harper, yes, we will be at the 600. Emily and I will be at the Coke 600 as well this
Yes.
fall, this summer, Memorial Day weekend. So we'll be up there as well. We'll obviously be at the Atlantas and the Talladegas as much as possible. So keep an eye out for us there. And I think we're working towards a Bristol fall race this year, and maybe Martinsville. So a couple more still up the sleeve, but the ones we know for sure are Talladega this weekend and the Coke 600 coming up. So if you see us there, I'm always at the racetrack. When we're at the racetrack, we got the merch on, so keep an eye out. And make sure to follow us on all of our social medias at Gas on the Right. Again, remember to tune in on Mondays at 9:30, starting this coming Monday after Talladega. And follow Tyler on all social medias to see Tyler and the Gas is on the Right Legends number 30 car go round and round at Stockton 99 and hopefully get a W and get it to Victory Lane. Anything else, you guys? I think that may wrap it all up.
That's it.
All right. Well, everybody have a wonderful week.